I got some mail today. Here's what this says. Hello, Frank Anthony Hightower. Yeah, Tony's my middle name. I'm informing you that your online request for a titre de séjour number, and there's a number there, has been accepted. A new titre de séjour is being created and will soon be sent to you. Joe got one too. We applied together. There's more, but this is great news. It means we can stay. It's a residence permit. We kind of have what in France passes for a green card. It means so many great things. We can get, I can actually get proper government healthcare to finish taking care of my knee. Felix can go to school. That's good. This is huge. Joe and I were actually able to celebrate a little last night, which is kind of great. The things they say about French bureaucracy have all turned out to be true. It's slow, it's Byzantine, you don't know where things are until somebody accidentally or just you get a little email out of the blue like this. And if you have even one piece of paper out of place, they're just gonna kick you to the back of the line and say, just try again. I just can't be bothered. Try again. And you do need to build a dossier of literally every potentially relevant file because you don't know what they're going to ask you. They know. You don't know. There are people who know this system a little bit and have been through it a few times, and those people are invaluable, but if you don't know, you don't know, and nobody knows. So it's best to just keep a proper dossier of everything. You have a big folder of literally everything that has ever mattered to you, and you just have to have it on hand with you, or close enough that you can just get stuff at any given time. We've only been here 6 weeks and already our dossier is starting to really balloon out, and it's only going to get bigger, so woo! But anytime you can get over a hurdle like this, that's going to be a good day. So we're going to celebrate because now we have a couple of years to justify our existence here. And all we have to do is just get to it. Anyone need a guy like me to do something? Okay, I have my new office space set up, right beside my kid's bed. No working late for me. Let's talk about the special burnout of excessive newness. I grew up in Toronto, but I moved to New York City in 1999. I just turned 30, I'd been playing in bands for a decade or so, and I realized there was nothing else in Toronto I could do. It's not that I'd outgrown the city, but certainly I'd reached a bit of a dead end socially, professionally, personally, romantically. I'd stopped growing inside, but I still felt like I hadn't finished growing up. It was time. So one weekend in the beginning of December, I piled as much of my stuff as I could into a friend's car, and we drove the 10 hours or so to New York City, and she dumped me out into my cousin's apartment in Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, where I crashed for a while. I got my first ever cell phone. I found a better living situation than that. I started playing music gigs again. I became part of the scene, and I did the work of getting involved locally, getting to know people, the new terrain, the places around the East Village, endearing myself to a bunch of new people, and just basically drinking everything in that the new city had to offer. It was great. Living in Toronto, which is a pretty major world city, you still were always looking down the road at New York and thinking, you're not better than me. Which of course means, maybe you are better than me. Well, I learned so much about myself in those first few months in New York. What I was capable of, what parts of my personality were holding me back, what my actual strengths were, what people who were really succeeding, not just in music, but in life, were actually doing, how they conducted themselves, how they held themselves, how they reacted to adversity. I was learning constantly. New York is built on a bottomless fount of energy, and tapping into that can make you feel invincible, like you can do and imagine anything. Is that a dangerous feeling? Oh, you bet it can be. If you're plugged into that power source even a little bit wrong, if you're not grounded, the city can fry you to a crisp. I met a lot of people who had either locked into that energy wrong or just stayed a little too long and glowed a little too hot without giving themselves a chance to cool off from time to time. New York City is paved on the backs of people who came from wherever they came from with dreams of all kinds and got ground into the asphalt because they didn't know when to get out. The line goes, if you can make it here, you'll make it anywhere. That's not always true. Many people who make it in New York can't make it anywhere else. I began to develop a different worldview about ambition and about what success actually was. I didn't want to degrade myself the way a lot of other people in my scene were in order to get ahead. I didn't want to artificially stimulate myself all that much and isolate myself from the rest of the people in my life in order to transform into some kind of super beast artist. I mean, if I thought I had a real shot at making it that way, I might have kept at it, but at a certain point, honestly, the drugs I'd have had to take just weren't my thing. And I was just too much of a wuss to expect to die a young, beautiful god instead of finding something closer to what the kids call happiness. I was already too old for the 27 Club at that point, so really, who would have cared? So I blinked. I remember the weekend it actually happened. I was temping at a decent day job and then we're playing gigs and rehearsing every night. Sleep was third at best on my priority list. I'd get a couple hours sleep a night. This, incidentally, is where people who take a lot of drugs have a real edge. They can sometimes just not sleep for longer than you or me. If you expect to be dead by next year, what's the point of resting? This was about 6 months after I moved to New York, and once I made that realization that this was all a bit of a mirage and I could do what I came here to do without wrecking myself or my health or my sense of well-being, I took a deep breath inside of myself and I went to sleep for about a week and a half. Pretty sure I lost that job. It was a temp gig. It wasn't a big deal. But still. Anyway, is this where I'd say yada, yada, yada? When I woke up, I took a deep, deep breath. I looked around me and I thought, okay, I live here now. This is home. I live in New York City now. Let's act like it. I stopped playing 1 a.m. gigs in clubs. I started trivia and I made a few far more well-adjusted friends. A few. I started running regularly as a way to manage my stress and anxiety. And it worked. It fucking worked. Mostly. Fast forward a couple of decades and I'm a little older and I know a little more about myself. I'm ambitious about different things now. I don't want to headline the Super Bowl halftime show or top the Billboard charts or whatever. I've got a family now. I want to become a citizen of the world. I want my world, and thus my child's world, to be as big as possible. We moved to Paris to find a bit more comfort in our own skin while still being a part of a city that has a ton of art and culture. I'm not ready to give that up. We've been here about 6 weeks now. So far, so good. Much like moving to New York, I was able to jettison a lot of the things I didn't like about myself, or at least things about myself I didn't find were helpful when I lived in Toronto. I was able to purge some peccadillos of my personality that I'm sure grated on even the people closest to me. Especially the people closest to me. But that said, I'd have thrown myself into this scene, this world of Paris expats, of art appreciators, of professional content creator types. Do you know how hard it is to not start a daily vlog for me? I really want to. I certainly have plenty of ideas, but it would mess me up to try it right now when we don't have art on the walls yet. We're still getting our collective shit together. Maybe I'll ramp up to 2 days a week posting things at some point. Maybe this summer. We'll see. See, I'm trying to avoid that burnout week here. I've already not completely succeeded. I've taken some seriously long mid-afternoon naps this past week, and I've been walking around in a haze whenever I'm awake. I'm still functional, but I can see burnout from here. The knee is getting better, thanks for asking, and I've been taking some screenwriting courses to go along with the French classes. I feel like I know enough to actually get started out there, and once I'm healed up enough to actually get out into the city, I'm really looking forward to putting together some good pictures of things that are going on here. That's ultimately where this is going. Until then, I'm doing something I should have done 23 years ago in New York. I'm focusing on making sure I'm okay and the people around me are okay in this new world, and doing my damnedest to live the way I want to live moving forward. I'd love it if you joined me.